Hey y'all. I am want to put a disclaimer or a warning on this video. I'm probably gonna cuss a lot because I'm really pissed off. So forewarning now. You don't want your kids hearing cuss words. Take them out the room. Do what you need to do. All right. I'm sure most of y'all have heard about the high school in Texas that had cage fighting going on between 2002, I think, and maybe 2003. I went to that high school. I am an alumni of South Oak Cliff High School. I graduated in 1992, which I think roughly was 17 years ago. And I can't tell you how disgusted and pissed off I am about this situation. I'm 35 now, so it's been a while, but I know that DISD schools are bad. I know that South Oak Cliff is in the ghetto, but being from the ghetto, being of the ghetto, I also know that good shit comes out of the ghetto. I'm from the ghetto, and I'm not bad. I'm not a gangster. I'm not a thug. I'm a fucking nerd. I'm smart. You know, I had expectations placed on me, and I wasn't the only one. And the thing that pisses me off about this bullshit that just fucking happened is that my parents weren't sending me to fucking Gulag to go to school. My parents weren't sending me to goddamn Mad Max and Thunderdome. They weren't sending me there for that shit. And that shouldn't have happened, you know? And it did, and nobody gives a fuck. And fuck a statutes of limitation. That's bullshit. Because if it was fucking Plano, and for those of y'all that don't know, Plano is the more affluent, more white school down the, well, not down the street, clear across the road. And it might as well be in another fucking world. If that was Plano, we wouldn't worry about no statutes of limitations. This shit would have been taken care of. And it's not like the young man's mother didn't go and try. She did. Nobody listened to her, and she just transferred her kids to another school. But let me get to the gist of this. The principal involved in this incident is named Donald Morton. It's not Morton, it's Moulton or Moulton. I'm also dyslexic, which they didn't pick up at South Oak Cliff High School. I'm sorry, look, I gotta adjust my naps. Anyway, I'm also dyslexic, so I get things mixed up sometimes, but especially when I'm really mad. But anyway, this fucking Mr. Moulton, or whatever the hell his motherfucking name is, was a former police officer who was involved and accused and charged with faking his own kidnapping at gunpoint. I think so he wouldn't have to go to work or some bullshit like that. He was also involved in the fatal shooting of somebody in his neighborhood crime watch, an elderly member. And they let this motherfucker be the principal of a school. And DISD, first of all, let me just say, is a fucked up school district. Let me just say that right off. But how the fuck is this crazy ass motherfucker gonna be in charge of a school, in charge of children? And I can't help but notice that it was South Oak Cliff he was principal of, and not some other school in a more affluent neighborhood. Constantly, if you come from the ghetto, you're being told you don't matter, you don't count. And then they're going to put knuckleheads like this in charge of children who can't defend themselves, who are looking for grown-ups to protect them. And this motherfucker acting like he's a prison warden, putting people in cages and letting them fight. And I know some people are like, oh, boys will be boys, blah, 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 blah. That is fucking bullshit. That's bullshit, and boys will not be boys. Boys will be whatever you teach them to be, and if you teach them to be ignorant fucking thugs, then that's what they're gonna be. You know, I mean, the principal when I was at SOC, that's what we call South Oak Cliff. If you're from the hood, you don't call it South Oak Cliff, it's SOC. Because we know about acronyms. We might be from the ghetto, but we know about acronyms. Got my country voice and my hood voice mixed up. It's hard when you have to code switch. Sometimes code switching gets mixed up, especially when you're dyslexic. Anyway, but the principal, when I went there, his name was Mr. Wallace. I think it was Waylon Wallace. And I don't know if anything like this was going on when he went there, or when he was principal. I would like to think not. But shit, I don't know. I don't fucking know. I'm a nerd now. I was a nerd then. I kept my nose to the grindstone. I was really quiet. I got picked on a lot, so I was just trying to be under people's radar. I got called I was acting white because I made good grades. And I'm just like, fuck y'all. I had 5 grandmothers and 4 grandfathers. And they told me I had to get good grades in school. And I was more concerned about what they thought of me than those dumbass motherfuckers. Half of them sitting up on... Anyway, let me be quiet. When I heard this story, I'm sorry. I'm just really mad. So when I heard this story, it brought back all kind of weird high school shit that I hadn't thought about in a long time. But I distinctly remember having a conversation with one of my classmates because we were, you know, doing our college prep stuff and trying to go off to college and trying to make something of ourselves. And I remember telling her I was trying to get transferred to what they call magnet schools here, and I wanted to be a veterinarian at the time. And I put in all the paperwork and everything, and I turned it into the office like I was supposed to, but they never turned it in and passed it on to the school I was trying to get into. And I think they kept me there because they wanted to keep their test scores up, because schools get rated in Texas, and if you don't have a certain rating, then you get put on probation, yada, 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 yada. And she was like, well, you can make good grades here and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, but an A from South Oak Cliff isn't like an A from another more affluent school, let's say W.T. White or West Plano or whatever. And I was probably only 16, maybe 15 or 16 at the time. But shit like at South Oak Cliff, things would happen like I was in the AP physics class, and we didn't have our physics books for the first 8 weeks. So, you know, we got our report cards and everything, but we could never take our books home to study. And when we finally did get our books, there was fucking mistakes in them. You know, like how, like the formula to figure out how much, you know, volume was in something, or, you know, the circumference of this or that. It was wrong. It was fucking wrong. And I just remember realizing or knowing that we weren't getting a fair share, that we weren't getting an equal education. And I remember kind of feeling helpless and not knowing what to do about it and just trying my best. But I remember turning down certain colleges that I got accepted into because I knew that I wasn't prepared to go to those schools. I knew that I couldn't do it. Well, not that I couldn't do it, but that it would be really, really, really difficult, and that it wasn't my fault, that I was not, that I wasn't ready for that, you know, that I wasn't ready for particular institutions. And I knew that I'm so mad. I'm just so mad because I'm just thinking, but the whole point of me saying this is that me being a nerd and realizing that there were shortcomings in my education and gaps in my education that I had nothing to do with, I can't imagine what a troubled youth has to go through or went through at South Oak Cliff High School. Obviously, they're cage fighting. Obviously, they are getting the snot beat out of them. They're being treated like criminals, and they're children. And they're fucking children. And, you know, I really fucking hate that saying that that a lot of rich, snotty, fucking unacknowledged, privilege-having motherfuckers always say, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, you know? Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. It's like, motherfucker, if I had some goddamn boots, I'd do it. But I don't even have fucking boots to pull myself up by no fucking bootstraps. I'm so pissed off. I'm so angry. You know what? I go down with my husband, and we mentor gay youth in Dallas. And I think I might just have to look up Mr. Moulton's address if he still lives in Dallas and whoop his ass and put him in a cage and let him see how it feels. Obviously, I'm not going to do it, but that would feel so good. I just want to go to his house and beat the shit out of him and kick him in the face and all the other adults who stood there and let this shit happen. What about the security guards? Yeah, I saw it. Why didn't you do anything? Why the fuck didn't you help these children? I don't care how bad they are or what they did. You don't put them in cages like animals and let them fight. That doesn't teach them anything other than fighting. It breeds aggression. Aggression breeds aggression. And yeah, oh, Namyo Horengekyo, Namyo Horengekyo. Oh, Jesus. I don't even believe in Jesus, and I'm calling out to him too. Shit. Anyway, you know that line from the Smith Small? And the pain was enough to make a shy, bald Buddhist reflect and plan a mass murder. I'm Buddhist. I'm not shy. Well, I am a little bit. I'm not bald, but I am thinking about a few mass murders. Anyway, I just wanted y'all to know that good things come out of the ghetto. I'm from the ghetto, and I'm good. And I know that there are kids in South Oak Cliff who are good, too. So, anyway, y'all.